animatronic was actually sculpted to be fully naked.
Whoa!
This is probably a joke hidden by the ride makers, since the riders are not supposed to see her torso in the first place.
Really? So they found real-life Easter eggs on this fucking ride? That's crazy. So this guy lived at Disney for, what, 50 years? I'm just making things up now. What the fuck was it?
The 21st century.
Where did he live?
October 1, 1982.
The following footage is real, huh?
You were lucky enough to take a trip to Walt Disney World in the 80s and 90s, chances are you took at least one ride on Horizons.
What the fuck is Horizons?
Step into the future.
I don't know that one.
Today.
This kind of shit is creepy to me.
When Horizons opened in 1983, a young Dave Ensign, aka Hoot Gibson, rode the ride for the very first time and was instantly obsessed.
Why?
Every week, Hoot would make a trip up to Epcot Center, always making it a point to ride his favorite ride, Horizons. Then, in 1986, Hoot met another Horizons superfan by the name of Ed Barlow Jr., aka Thunder Chief.
Why?
Hoot and Chief shared a strong bond for theme parks and became best friends. Together they obsessed over Horizons until one fateful day in 1994 when Hoot received a shocking call from Chief. Without warning, Horizons had closed.
No! What the fuck?
Hoot and Chief were disappointed that they were not given the chance to properly say goodbye to their favorite ride. Hoot realized that he had only taken a handful of faded photos while on the ride and was furious. He knew that if he was given the chance to ride the ride just one more time, he would do it all differently. Fortunately for them, that day would come exactly 1 year later, when in 1995, Horizons reopened.
Yeah.
One night after getting off from their boring desk jobs, Hoot and Chief met for a drink. It was that night that they decided to take it upon themselves to document every last inch of Horizons before it ever closed again. And with that, their work could begin.
Yeah, this looks like a shit-ass ride.
Surprisingly, Horizons was one of the few Disney rides ever built without any security
Epcot
system.
sucks, bro.
There were no pressure mats.
The only thing to enjoy about Epcot is like
security
food
cameras
and wine
and zero
festival.
supervision by any Disney cast members.
Try to be on time tonight. I mean, it is a party. Just last Saturday night.
Wow, this is very creepy.
The two needed a system for not getting caught, so they came up with one that they called the Gap. Hoot would give a signal to Chief in case somebody entered the building.
Go count some cars.
Once the gap was large enough between them and the next guests on the ride, they would get on the ride and check their vehicle number, since every vehicle in Horizons was numbered.
Well, it's so weird.
As soon as they rounded the corner, they would jump out and get as far ahead as possible. Then, by keeping count of the cars, they had a precise idea of how much time they had per scene.
But why?
That guy see us? No. Who cares? Where'd he go? Is he going? Yeah, I think they're gone.
Their first night was a success. They went on a few more adventures before they started to bring along friends, like their friend Bionic Fonzie.
This was Redditors before Reddit. Nah, not really. So apparently they start living here at some
Exploring
point.
the ride the way they were was
If I remember
risky
correctly.
and dangerous. Right as Hoot and Chief are about to exit the space scene, Hoot had stepped on a rotten piece of plywood and permanently injured his foot. Although they made it through the rest of the night just fine, Hoot can still feel a pain in his foot to this very day.
Oh, nice. Cool. A reminder of the Horizon. He takes a small piece of it with him now.
Sometimes there were details they found that were not meant to be seen by riders. There's a girl bathing in a bathtub. When Hoot climbed up there, he discovered that the animatronic was actually sculpted to be fully naked.
Whoa!
This is probably a joke hidden by the ride makers, since the riders are not supposed to see her torso in the first place.
Really? So they found real-life Easter eggs on this fucking ride? That's crazy.
Well, let me get one more shot of the sign and then I'll close it.
Stand by for approximate. And hold for further instructions.
Oh, I need to get a picture of the speaker.
Hey, Mom! What is it, Tommy? Look, Mom, I'm flying!
170 right here.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
This ride does look pretty cool.
Other friends like Spike Tripper joined the duo a few times, as well as Hoot's girlfriend at the time, Sunnyside. After this particular adventure seen in this photo, Hoot and Sunnyside got married and have been happily married ever since. Their newly found confidence in exploration nearly became their downfall on one particular Wednesday night. Their goal on this night was to explore the undersea section of the ride and to finally make it to the bottom of the ocean. But in their rush of excitement, they overlooked one small detail. The hole they jumped into was too high to jump back out of, and in just a few seconds they'd be in full view of the guests.
Hey, how are we gonna get out of here and back to our vehicle? Oh shit. Take cover.
They were forced to take refuge behind a rock in which a blinking octopus stood guard. Hoot and Chief waited.
There goes our gap. I can't see the ride vehicles. I'll take a peek.
It's pretty cool.
Attention Horizons passengers.
Shit!
The two were now stuck hiding behind the rock. Suddenly, a little boy saw Hoot's foot sticking out from behind the rock.
You the man down there? Damn it.
Hoot pulled himself in tighter. It was a long breakdown. Minutes turned into tens of minutes. There was simply no way out. Suddenly, the ride started up again.
Yeah!
The Chief decided it was time to make their escape.
I guess we just go for it. Yep. Here comes a few empty cars. Let's go.
It's pretty wild, Burrito.
Aside from that little kid, no one else noticed them that night.
Well, that sucked, man. That sucked.
They were going to try staying in the ride for an extended amount of time. They were paranoid that a cast member at the front was keeping track of who was riding in what car at a single time.
No
If the ride
fucking
was
chance of
stopped in
that.
approximately 10 minutes,
They
they
don't
might be
care.
in trouble. Lucky for them, the ride continued and there seemed to be zero problems.
And your vehicle are traveling at equal speed.
After 4 hours of exploring the ride, the two finally stepped out, victorious.
Think about it, Dave. Four goddamn hours later. That was
Needs to be some Miss Piggy.
You want to ride again?
They were now able to stay in the ride as long as they wanted, meaning new adventures were possible, like adventuring underneath the sets or exploring in the rafters.
Scan. I've never looked up and actually saw the little, you know, the projector doing that stuff. I guess I never did either. That's cool as shit, man.
So,
Here,
they
they're
definitely
looking down
live here.
on things such as the space set from afar, as well as the birthday hologram scene from the perspective of the animatronics. This is a video from their first and last trip up to one of the top floor mechanical rooms. Here we can see the top of the Horizons ride vehicle track, with even a little paintbrush for wiping grease off. Exploring these rooms made them feel unsafe and prone to being discovered, making this a rare trip.
Well, the ride closed, so they can't be living there now.
I got you.
Or maybe they just never left.
Oh shit. This doesn't go right into the projector. The father and the boy. Well, actually, right up over there.
And nobody's seen them since. It'd be a pretty wild ending.
Is where the girl sits talking to her boyfriend.
Staying on the ride soon became old hat, and the two would stay on the ride for 8 hours at a time. They would eat dinner there, and one time even wash themselves in the Mesa Verde waterfall.
What the fuck?
Hey, Dave. Did we ever film the orange machine? Well, we only got pictures. No, we better film it.
When riders would ride through the Mesa Verde
Holy
scene, a
shit.
familiar orange scent would be blasted into the air. On this adventure, they found the actual scent cannon that was used to blast the smell of orange during the ride.
Easy street. Fuck yes.
While walking behind the cars, the unthinkable happened. As they rounded the corner, a maintenance worker spotted them.
Oh shit!
Holy shit.
Chief remembered a secret door they used many times and he ran into it.
Mechanic, that door right there probably goes out into the undersea.
Take that. Quick, dude, to the hole.
They walked underneath the easy living scene to find their trusted hiding place. Things started to feel bleak.
But little did they know the maintenance man
Now we're
lives
fucked.
there.
We sure did it this time. Fuck yes we did. Our gear's in Mesa Verde base camp. We have to get it.
Hoot heard the ride running again and snuck out to take a peek, only to see the workers riding the ride looking for the two of them. Meanwhile, their camera was still left out in the open in the future living section, and guests were starting to notice it.
This is pretty wild.
Suddenly, Hoot and Chief made a mad dash from their hiding spot and jumped into two open cars. They were only 10 cars behind their pursuers. They rode all the way to where they had left their cameras. When they got there, they made a break for the camera and got it back successfully.
Oh yeah.
At least we got her shit. Now all we have to do is find a way out.
They decided to run back to the harvester
Jermaine,
scene to see if they were still being followed. The workers were nowhere to be seen, and the ride was packed with guests.
What's the matter? Those people can see me when I stand up right there. I'm looking right at the kid's butt.
Unfortunately for them, the only way to get back in their car would be to do so in full view of the other riders. Chief was all for it, so they did it.
Hiya, folks. Never mind us.
Chief's other idea was for the two of them to act like a couple as they got off the ride, so they did that too.
Watch your step onto the moving beltway, dear. Okay, honey.
Have a good
How does that?
You too, sweetie.
The employees gave them weird looks as they walked out of the ride. They blended into the crowd and left
Yeah, I mean, I
without
guess
anyone asking
they
any
didn't
questions.
see them. The
In all of their
employees.
adventures and escapades, the adventurous Hoot and Chief were never caught once. The two came up with some crazy ideas on how to end their adventures. One idea was to pick a car just behind them and load it full of every prop they could move. Chairs, lamps, anything not nailed down to give the cast members a shock when this car full of stuff pulled into the exit.
That you just
Another idea
asking
was
for
to spend
a
the day
problem.
running naked through the scenes until they got arrested. They even
What?
had an idea to carry super soakers in with them and drench the guests as they rounded the scuba class scene.
Oh, it's getting dark now.
But after exploring the ride for months and months, Hoot and Chief decided to ride the ride one last time, the way it was intended. They walked out and sat in front of Horizons. It was officially over for them and
Easy tier
everyone else.
1 rock.
They sat and looked at the pastel wonder they had tried to document. And then, they went home.
Oh, rest in peace. Thanks to Prime Night.
10 years went by, and many Horizons fan websites sprouted up on the internet. Then, in 2009, Hoot and Chief started their own Horizons website, a place for photos and videos, stories, and even comics to be shared. The blog was updated until 2011, when the last of the footage had been digitized and uploaded. The adventures of Hoot and Chief had now been documented forever.
Do you want to look like the kind of girl?
Tell me what those are, Graven.
These are film strips from Horizons.
Wow, which one is that? Is that the redhead?
It's not plural,
Yes, it
it's
is.
Horizon,
Yeah.
I thought.
This is what, yeah, but this is what we find in the trash can. They would just throw, when they would change out the reel, they would just throw this whole thing in the trash can.
Blasphemy.
So on one of our trips, we just got lucky in one of the rooms. We looked, it was like, holy shit, look what's in the trash can.
That's awesome.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
What Hoot and Chief accomplished was truly a lightning-in-a-bottle experience. Since Horizons, Disney rides and theme parks in general have become increasingly security-sensitive, making what the two of them did impossible to ever recreate.
Thanks to give so we getting bored.
What do we got here?
This is from the
Triple
kitchen.
No, I've never seen that one
The
gunshot.
living kitchen with
Oh, nice.
with spilled milk and shit.
Whatever that weird.
Pine Anna. And I got several of these that are in different sizes.
Because those are on the bushes in the harvester scene. Like
What,
going
the
up.
pineanas are?
I can't
Yeah.
So who are they talking to right now?
There's like the little ones that were just.
They're just trying to flirt with the local college girls?
Oh, weird.
Fruit?
You ever remember Horizon from when you were 4 years old?
Wow.
Found them.
So cool.
Fell in our face.
Yeah, we never took anything that made it like.
Went in there when they closed the ride and they were going to
Oh.
tear it down. They looted the place. This
there.
crazy
Like-
stuff that people swipe. A bunch of film strips and
Yeah.
For
Man,
one
tons of
particular
stuff.
type of thing.
The backpack full of goodness.
My yellow flashlight that you see in the videos.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Yeah, this must be like a fan meetup.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
3 years later, they build
2014,
Horizon with their own
Chief
material
passed
off
away
memory.
after a battle with cancer.
Oh.
He was only 46 years old. Chief's final wish was
Thanks
for
for your
Hoot to
Mike.
perform one last act of theme park delinquency in his honor. To scatter his ashes at the place where the two of them had first met all of those years ago.
Okay, we made it into Coke Corner. Of course, this is where I met Ed 29 years ago. I have the remains of my best friend strapped in my pants, and I'm about to switch him over to this drink cup and go take care of business.
This is sad, man. Oh, what the fuck? I didn't expect that.
Well, I did it. I didn't think I'd get so shook up about it, though. But that's where he wanted to be, so it's done.
In the trash can? I thought he was gonna, like, sprinkle it on the Epcot ground.
That's all I got. Mission accomplished.
Oh, he did. He threw the cup away. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Damn, what a sad ending. Fuck, man. I got really invested in that story. What the fuck? That was actually fucking wild. Thanks to the Tier 1 Vinlum and the Prime Mew. I'm actually fucking blown away by how interesting that.
We are going to do a psychic brain massage.
Well, fucking do it then, pussy. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. I'm expecting any minute now for him to like chug a fifth of vodka and just say shoe nice or something.
Can you feel?
Oh, 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 oh. Ooh.
You feel me pulling?
Shit, he's powerful. God damn. Ooh, wait. Hey, whoa, be nice to the psyche.
We can connect.
Yes, please. Let's connect. That's what I want.
Oh. From your mind.
Oh, whoa.
In out.
Wow.
Your brain.
Oh, yes. Pet it, please. Wonderful. That felt great.
Had the misfortune to handle this incorrectly, you would most certainly have a painful and horrible death.
What?
Sadly, this subject has been covered before by someone I know.
Uranium.
I found this story really interesting and I had to do a video about it.
Plutonium?
This
Fuck!
video.
Son of a
Like
bitch.
many of my atomic videos, our story starts during the Second
Things a
World
bit
War
spacey.
and the Manhattan Project. The Demon Core, or Rufus as it was originally nicknamed, was intended to be used in a third atomic bomb to be dropped on Japan. It was designed to be 5% below critical mass.
So this doesn't seem
leaving
like
the
super
core
interesting though.
somewhat
Like
safe. However,
we know now how
5%
dangerous
was
plutonium
to
is.
ensure that when needed, it could be used to make a very large explosion easily.
Seems like a really comprehensive lesson into the dangers of plutonium, but yeah, I was expecting like some wild shit. But I mean, it's a good sport. I certainly have no problem with shin kicking. When do they? There it is. The danger to the sack is really high in this sport, but I'm pretty sure they wear a cup.
Saw the Harvard Globeheads debunked their model yesterday.
You're not testing on a ball, guys. The Earth is flat.
Oh shit! Wait, is this serious or no?
We're gonna put one magnet here in California. Seriously, I'm about to lose it. I'm getting pissed.
I don't know how you're gonna take a 1 mile piece
isn't
of
it?
toilet paper and hit space.
God damn it.
I thought he was gonna die, dude. I literally thought he was gonna die. Wow.
I thought you...
Holy shit.
They're a complete shock.
I thought it was an actual flat earther thing.
You can't write that stuff, guys. I'm just having my freaking world rocked.
Shut the fuck up!
It's everything.
This looks very high effort though, wow.
Right. And I've always been right. You guys get it? You guys fucking get it?
Damn, the amount of effort that seems to have gone into that is wild. It says parody? What, where? Oh, god damn it! Well, I mean, I think it was pretty clear. But, yeah, I should have just seen this right away and not got excited.
Saw the Harvard Globeheads.
Phase Rug Gatorade in Windex bottle prank? Tell me if it's fake or not. Alright, I don't have to watch it. I can tell you it's fake. FaZe Rug is in the fucking title. What do you mean? I'll watch it for a couple seconds just to confirm, make sure I'm on the right track here. I don't want to be wrong. But I can tell you it's definitely fake.
What's going on, guys? FaZe Rug. I know her reaction is going to be funny. It's going to be so fun to do. And oh god. I'm actually scared to do this. Read, and I'm going to ask her if she needed help cleaning.
That's nice of you. Forgot something? Did you really fucking drink him now with that? Come on, you should look.
It looks, my mom got so scared. You were on.
It's fake. That's probably enough FaZe Rug's content for the whole year, in fact. We just reached the limit. Watch the Glico Morinaga incident, Japan's greatest unsolved mystery.
Explore the Glico Morinaga case and its perpetrator, the monster with 21.
That's a cool title, I'm in.
Izaki legacy, but nothing could have prepared him for the night of March 18th, 1984, or the subsequent nightmare that would last nearly a year and a half after that. At approximately the two men first happened upon Mrs. Izaki and one of the couple's 3 children.
This is not what I was expecting at all here.
They were both bound. Meanwhile, Katsuhisa, hearing the commotion, tried to remain unnoticed in the nearby bathroom with his 2 other children, but his efforts were ultimately in vain. But wait. A ransom request was made the very next morning, with the unidentified assailants asking for the equivalent of $4.3 million, along with 220 pounds of gold.
Damn!
A staggering amount for anyone, but one that would ultimately never have to be paid. Just 3 days later, Katsuhisa managed to escape completely unharmed, revealing to both police and the public that he'd been held in a warehouse in nearby Ibaraki City, not far from his own company's headquarters. Puzzlingly enough, the CEO also claimed that he managed to finally escape because he, for some reason, had been left unmonitored. Almost a month after the taking of Katsuhisa Izaki, more bizarre events began to unfold for Glico. On April 10th, a number of vehicles outside the company HQ were inexplicably set on fire in a suspected arson case.
What the fuck is going on with Glico?
A week later,
Jesus,
a container full of hydrochloric acid was located in one of Glico's buildings. Both Glico and local Osaka media received letters claiming that cyanide-laced packs of the company's candy would be placed on store shelves. The letters signed by a person or group choosing
Damn, this is like the actual Zodiac killer. Like, he must have fled the States and then went here to torment the chocolate guy.
Taken from the works of mystery writer
Glico and the Chocolate Factory.
Specifically, a character known as the Monster or Fiend with 20 faces. It goes without saying that what happened next here was mass panic, and of course for good reason. Now, despite all the damage, however, no poison candies were actually found. Meanwhile, investigators were scrambling to crack the case, but the so-called monster with 21 faces was slippery, and they knew it. As this was all going on, the letters did not stop. Many that were sent to the media were addressed directly to Japanese police, who the monster described as stupid and incompetent.
Oh, hey, that's hey, let's not be rude. What the fuck?
Frustrated with police,
they're doing their best.
The vehicle was gray and that they'd entered Glico's factory via the front gate in order to plant the container filled with acid, which they claimed was originally street garbage. The letters themselves...
Imagine being so incompetent at your job that the criminals you're trying to catch are just openly giving you hints to make it more fun for them. Because you can't figure it out on your own.
Solid clues as to the monster's identity, aside from the fact that they seemed local based on the dialect that was used. There did, however, appear to be one possible break in the case after Glico's products had been recalled. This man was spotted on CCTV, seemingly placing something onto a store shelf.
We got him!
It is a bit difficult to make out, but the man here is wearing a business suit and glasses, along with a Tokyo Yomiuri Giants baseball cap.
Oh, I actually thought that was a New York Yankees cap for a second, I'm not gonna lie.
Footage associated with this case. But whoever is depicted in it, the so-called videotaped man, has never been identified or even formally connected to the person or group who calls themselves the Monster with 21 Faces. On June 26, at the height of all the chaos and confusion, something even more bizarre took place.
Oh god.
Another letter had turned up, but this time
it was a love letter.
That the monster was done with Glico. The note, addressed to the people of Japan, said, "The president of Glico has already gone around with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him. Japan has gotten terribly hot and humid, so when our work is done...
Yeah, maybe I'll check that one out next, Raiden.
Geneva, Paris, London. We'll be in one of those places. Let's bring Pocky, the traveler's friend. Delicious Glico products. We're eating them too. See you in January of next year." And it even came without any money being exchanged. This, of course, would seem
yeah, they haven't made a single fucking dime from this shit.
If not for the fact that the monster really hadn't stopped at all. In fact, it had already started targeting other brands, including one Marudai food company, with much the same tactics it had already used with Glico. Once again, ransom was demanded in exchange for peace, and unlike Glico, Marudai was ready to comply.
Oh no!
But with a catch. On June 28th, just 2 days after the
Why
monster
comply? They
announced
clearly
an
just
end
gave
to
up
its
last
obsession
time.
With Glico, said man was described as having a larger build, short hair, glasses, and most notably, eyes said to resemble those of a fox. The undercover cop was instructed
So you sent a cop that was high.
a white flag, the signal to drop the money, but since that flag never appeared, the cop continued on the route until its eventual end in Kyoto. He was only there long enough to hop on the next available train back to Osaka, and sure enough, the fox-eyed man boarded the exact same train. This time, the monster wasn't bluffing. Several packs of Morinaga products were found with additional labels on them reading, "Danger contains poison," signed "The Monster with 21 Faces." In response, a staggering 40,000 Japanese police officers were set to watch over
get rid of the surprise by saying that.
Stores. In August of 1985, things were still at a standstill, and the Japanese public were furious with law enforcement's perceived
Appreciate it, Giggle. Thank you. And
the
yeah,
pressure
GTRP is
was
always
too
fun.
much for one man in particular who had worked on the case. Superintendent Shoji Yamamoto, who, tragically out of shame, set himself on fire and would ultimately pass away.
What?
The monster, meanwhile, had been watching...
What? This is like literally an anime plot. The fucking detective was so ashamed he couldn't catch the guy that he lit himself on fucking fire? This is probably what he looked like when he was burning alive too, just so fucking stoic about it. Like, yeah, I'm burning alive, what is it? What of it? Huh, pussy? My god! What? Bro, like over here, the fucking lead detective on a case probably thinks about it 10 minutes out of his day. And then meanwhile, this guy was so consumed by it and so disappointed he couldn't crack it, he lit himself on fucking fire.
We decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. If anyone blackmails any of the food-making companies, it's not us, but someone copying us. We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies.
Kind of a lame note, not gonna lie, kind of lame.
Good on their work. But even so, people were still left with no answers, no real reason
Wait,
for why all this...
So, this is fucking crazy. So the guy lit himself on fire, and that was such a profound statement that the criminals just stopped. So this guy, like, he must have seen the strings that attached everything. He must have cracked the fucking code. By lighting himself on fire, he solved the case, but he lit himself on fire because he couldn't solve it. So the act of the self-immolation ultimately solved the case. This is crazy. And there, man, what a story. And the criminals also had so much honor that they respected him so much that they just quit.
It almost comes off like the monster with 21 faces didn't actually want to hurt anyone or even make money for that matter. Why place labels on tainted goods? Why not actually collect on the money? Why leave the CEO unmonitored, which allowed for his escape? That we don't know of. In the end, we're never going to know what the monster really wanted. Was it to make a point to society, or to play out his very own detective fantasy in real life? The answers remain unclear, but what's troubling to think about is that the monster with 21 faces could still be alive today, and much like the Fiend, the monster remains unseen. Thank you.
That was great, but what an I can't help but feel like it's all wasted. So, like, the team behind the monster with 21 condoms, like, they did something crazy. Like, they did something nuts. And no one will ever know who it was. So that group, or that maybe one person, they can never fucking brag about it. They can never be like, I'm a genius. Like, this guy probably sits at the dinner table with his family or his friends. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking smart as shit. And then he can never prove it. Because he can't just be like, yeah, I'm the monster with 21 faces or whatever. Such a waste. You did something nuts and no one will ever know. Except you. You yourself are the only one that will know. Shame.